What's up, mortgage pros? Welcome to another awesome edition of Pro Performance. We are going to talk today all about CRM automations that create clients on Autopilot. We have a very special program scheduled for you today. Something that we've never done before is we now have two very special guests joining us, two vendor partners, and I'm going to introduce them now. My name is Kyle Schoenmaker. I am the Vice President of Sales here, going on 7 years at the organization. And it's my pleasure to introduce Danny Dunn from Shape. Danny, are you out there?
Hi everyone, I'm Danny Dunn. I'm an enterprise account manager and project manager at Shape Software. I've been with the company over a decade and I work closely with mortgage teams across the nation to work on lead management, strategy, and CRM optimization. My focus is helping companies grow and build reliable systems to take the manual work out of things and help you close more loans.
Incredible. And we're so excited to hear from you, Danny, here and how Shape can really help build those automations. And we're also joined today by Carter Zimmerman, the founder of Jupiter. Carter, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me, everyone. I am Carter Zimmerman, like you mentioned. I've been building mortgage technology for the last 10 years for brokers, and I'm really excited. We launched Jupiter last week at Ignite, and I'm really excited to share more with you today.
Awesome. So, two dynamite vendor partners that we have here with us, and this really aligns with one of our partner promises that we talked about last year during the RPX Summit. So, if you remember, these 10 promises were launched. We said this was something that we were going to take very seriously, something that is etched in stone, something that you can hold us accountable to. And the fourth promise here is tech that works faster so you don't have to. So we are going to talk in depth about these different tech platforms that each one of them works for and how they can work better for you and your business. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. And we are going to start off with just some of the outcomes that we hope to get from this session. So first, we hope that you'll diagnose where the breakdown occurs in the follow-up process. Second, we hope that you're going to identify common tasks that should always be automated. Third, we're going to introduce Jupiter for LOS automations. Again, Jupiter was a flagship launch that happened last week in Ignite. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. And then number four, we're going to help you determine Jupiter's impact on your business, what you can expect from that piece of software moving forward. So let's dive right in. So I'm going to have Danny come on the screen now, and we're going to start off with the CRM capabilities. So let's just start here, Danny. I'm going to read what's on the screen. From lead to lost, what happens when there's a breakdown in the follow-up? And I think that is something where people really struggle with, okay, I'm going to have a single touch point, a second, a third, a fourth. So where does follow-up breakdown in most mortgage businesses happen?
That's a great question. And really, there's two critical components to where breakdown happens. First, it's going to be speed to contact. That's, conversion drops dramatically if you're not following up within the first 5 minutes. And ideally, if you can get that below 2 minutes, your chances for conversion and connection, they go up exponentially. The second piece is going to be consistency. Consistency is the second biggest breakdown in follow-up. And the reality is most loan officers give up after 2 contact attempts, but it takes at least 5 to get a connection going with a new prospect. And on average, it takes between 15 and 17 blended contact attempts to actually close a loan. That's based on thousands and thousands of loan transactions, and that's consistent over the years across all mortgage companies. And really, leads don't usually go cold. It's the strategy that kind of leads to that. And that's really where CRM and LOS connections really become powerful, because not only is the initial lead management important, but also the consistent follow through as the loan progresses through the pipeline.
Yeah, you had mentioned that timer, that 2-minute timer. Ultimately, it would be great if we hit them 30 seconds before they even put in the lead, right? Be the first one to it. But I think it's really important to identify what happens when leads don't hear back fast enough. Like, what are the statistics behind that?
Great question. So most consumers go with the first like professional and basically the first person that responds. Usually mortgage shoppers are filling out multiple forms. And so the first person to get in contact with them and really give them a clear path forward, be educational, be helpful, is usually who they're going to go forward with.
Okay. So that's really interesting. So it's not always who's giving them the best information. Hopefully they doing their due diligence, but sometimes it's just that speed to lead, right? Which is so important. You obviously want to make sure you have a polished pitch, but you need to make sure you're one of the first ones. If you're not first, you're last, right? So, all right. So now let's talk about the automation piece, and I think this is where the biggest gap happens, right? So, we're going to talk about automating tasks, master the relationship. Let's start off with this question. What would consistent automation free up a mortgage professional to do?
That's a great question. The reality is first, one, it takes the pressure off of you to be the person to consistently be following up. The reality is we all get sick, we go on vacation, things pop up throughout our day, fires happen. So what automation handles is the immediate response, the long-term nurture, milestone updates, and consistent check-ins. So that way, even if you are on vacation, you know, the system, it doesn't go on vacation, it's going to continuously follow up for you.
Yeah, that's that tech working for you, right? And so uh, now the brain starts working. We start thinking of all of the different tasks that we can automate, not just birthdays and different milestones within the process, but now we're starting to think, okay, how do I prioritize all of these things? So in your mind, Danny, what follow-up should always be automated?
It's a great question. So, and we actually have statistics to back this up. Across all of our mortgage companies, there's key critical parts of the mortgage process that you should always make sure that you're automating. As I've probably felt like on repeat, speed to contact. So that new lead speed to contact campaign is critical. Next, when someone starts an application with you, it's really important that they follow through with completing it. So that way you can take the next steps to pre-approval. So the app started, making sure that they move to app completion is really critical as well. Speaking of app completion, you usually get a pre-approval at that point, and that's usually when those active purchase shoppers are house hunting. So they're out there in the world. Sometimes, especially in certain markets, it takes a while for that process. So making sure that you're staying consistent on those pre-approved and looking files is really important. As mentioned, the LOS and keeping everyone informed. So not just borrowers, but also the listing and buying agents that are involved in the transaction. And that's really where the LOS sync comes into play with the CRM. So that way we get those automated updates and all of the communications go out automatically.
Yeah.
And then the last key component is the post-close. It's vitally important to retain the business that you've already closed. That pipeline right there alone, most people are going to refi or they have a friend or family member who needs additional loans. So having a long-term post-close follow-up is critical as well.
Yeah. I remember a quote, and I can't remember who said it, but it was everything that we have in this life is due to great communication or the lack thereof, right? And so now we're starting to introduce technology that can start to do the communication for us and make sure that we're communicating with different teams and everyone is staying informed. That's so important. So yeah, thank you for laying that out. That was awesome. So I'm going to say something, and it's going to sound ridiculous, but stay with me. Some people are actually scared of scaling and increasing their volume because they don't have the automations in place to handle it. So, how does automation protect you when that volume does increase?
It's a great question. So, and that's a valid concern. You know, when production and volume increases, calls go unanswered, text go unreplied to, and follow up becomes inconsistent. And that's really where you're starting to see AI come into the fold. And it's a part of everyone's business these days. And if you don't have AI as part of your business, you should really look into it because you're going to be falling behind. And no matter how many hours you put into it, you just need that workforce multiplier to help free you up to actually focus on doing the human things. So focusing on relationships, actually reviewing certain files that might need your attention and a human to interact. But really, we're seeing, and across a lot of our mortgage companies, more and more AI. We offer AI calling and texting. So a lot of people find this statistic pretty surprising that 30% on average inbound calls go unanswered. And on top of that, about 80% of people who reach a voicemail will not actually leave a voicemail. So people who are typically afraid of AI and incorporating it, we usually recommend put an AI answering service on, so that way it never goes to voicemail and you can at least schedule a call back if you're unavailable.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat. I was shocked to know how many people just don't leave voicemails anymore. They get that greeting. I spend so much time on that greeting, making sure everyone's entertained and just no one's leaving a voicemail. But no, I think that's so important. Just making sure we're increasing the automation to make sure we don't miss. Even marginal misses can cost you so much. So real quick, what is one workflow you would recommend to automate first? What's the very first thing someone should look at?
Just as kind of a piggyback to where we started this, I always recommend a new lead campaign. If you can be the first one, that is the primary driver and the conversion metric that is really going to make or break the deal. If you aren't, as you had mentioned, if you're not first, you're last. So if you don't know where to start there. You don't necessarily have to do everything all at once, but that is one step that can have you see the value in automation.
That's awesome. Well, Danny, thank you. I do have one more question for you. You've worked for Shape for some time now, and you work closely with mortgage professionals all across the nation. What is a question that you frequently get asked?
Great question. Oftentimes people don't know where to start. So they know that they need all of this stuff, but they don't have or necessarily know the building blocks in order to make this a reality. And that's really where Shape comes into play. Our system's fully built out of the box and configured for best practices. So we already have all of the drip campaigns that I mentioned ready to turn on for you. We have AI calling and texting if you're worried about volume. And we have expert onboarding services that really get you onboarded within days. So we're here to support you through this, and anything that you need from us, you can go ahead and use that QR code there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Danny. Again, I appreciate it. Please scan the QR code, get in touch with our onboarding team. They're ready to talk to you, ready to help you with your automation needs. So next, it's important to know how these different technologies speak to each other too. And something that's so complementary to the CRM is the LOS and the POS that you're using. So now I'm very happy to welcome Carter to the screen. Carter, welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about LOS automations that create clients, which is pretty cool. So again, just thank you so much for being here. Jupiter is a wild ride. I've worked with you for some time now. Your team is absolutely incredible. I think everyone wants to know, though, what is Jupiter and how did you all get started?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Jupiter is an LOS POS built for momentum. When I say that, I understand partners usually say, well, what does that mean? And momentum to us means we want to pull those borrowers. We're talking about automation today. We want to pull those borrowers further down the funnel. We want to remove the friction. We want to create momentum. And so what does that do for their business? Ultimately, it creates more conversions, which I think we're all looking for. So that's where we kind of get this chase less, close more. That's the bottom line. That's what Jupiter is. And do you want me to jump right into the story as well, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. We love to hear that founder story.
Well, and the reason I share is that one thing I've learned, like I said, working with brokers over the last 10 years is they're entrepreneurs. And I love that about this space. They're growing in their own business. They have the grit and the drive to do it. And so for me, I started in 2017. We're talking about marketing and marketing automation. So this was in the absolute heyday of Facebook ads. And I was running a marketing agency as an entrepreneur. And I met a mortgage broker from Canada. He was one of the largest mortgage brokers. He brought me in with a mastermind group of all of his other mortgage broker friends. And I just started running ads for all of them. I started building funnels, lead campaigns. And the craziest thing happened when we were reviewing their pipelines. They would say, oh, right about here is where we drop off on conversion. And it was at the point of application intake and document collection. And I said, hey, what exists out there in the space for this? And they showed me basically their inbox. Like nothing existed for the way they were collecting. And so I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. We collected some family and friends money and we were off to the races. And so that product was actually grown from 2017 for 8 years in Canada. We took all of the success. I think it's in the last 3 years, we've done 150 billion in gross submitted volume through Finmo. Huge numbers. And one of the most loved products in Canada. We took everything we learned, we adapted it for the US market, and here we are. We're releasing Jupiter for all of you, and we couldn't be more excited.
From Facebook ads to one of the most dynamic pieces of technology that mortgage professionals now have the opportunity to use. That's absolutely incredible. So crazy to think that that's how that all got started. And the archaic systems that people use, and you identified the problem and you found a really cool solution. Now, I've had the pleasure of watching this. What we're going to do is we're actually going to watch a video that shows you some of the capabilities of Jupiter, and then we're going to dive into it a little bit deeper to go into those big differentiators. So here's a video.
Don't need another LOS that tries to do everything. You need one that keeps loans moving. Jupiter makes it obvious what's next for you and the borrower. Let's start a loan. You can send the borrower the application link or start it for them while you're on the phone. To save even more time, simply drop in call notes, an email, or even a transcript, and Jupiter AI will populate the loan for you. Starting a loan is so flexible that you can fill in part of the app for your borrower, then invite them to come back and finish it when it's convenient. Now the borrower experience, where your brand matters. In Jupiter, the portal is yours, your logo, your colors, and it takes minutes to set up. And once the application is moving, Jupiter keeps it moving. Smart Docs automatically requests the right documents based on application answers, so the loan doesn't stall. Next up, credit. Pull soft or hard credit using your own credentials or use Rocket Pros for free when the loan is going to Rocket Pro. From there, run AUS right inside the loan. Findings come back as a clean, action-ready checklist. Now pricing. Jupiter passes the loan details into the Rocket Pro pricing engine, so you get accurate pricing without manual data entry. Okay, now it's time to submit. If you want to send it to Rocket Pro, it's one click and the loan is sent to the Pro portal. But here's what matters. This is your business. You're not locked in. If you don't want to send the loan to Rocket Pro, download the 1003 and take it to another lender. And if you do send it to Rocket Pro, statuses come back directly into Jupiter, so you stay in one place from capture to close. When it's time to finish the loan with the homeowner, Jupiter can generate forms, build packages, and send them for integrated e-signing. And it handles the hardest parts of compliance without slowing you down. In a few clicks, you can create a mortgage call report that keeps your business audit ready. That's Jupiter, and this is what momentum feels like. Chase less, close more. Welcome to Jupiter.
Wow. So a lot to unpack there. I feel like I was just at, one of those tech launches. Everyone stands up and claps. It takes a lot for me to get really excited about a tech launch. Every single time I watch that video, there's customization. There are true difference makers from integration and automation that Jupiter provides. So let's just start here. What should we expect when using Jupiter in our business?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to start with ease of use and simplicity. So again, working with brokers, it's like if it's hard to use, it's a non-starter. I don't care how many features it has. I don't care how, flashy it is. It has to be so easy to use. So what I tell people is when they log into Jupiter, the next action is always easy to see, but the next action is also really easy to do. So you should never be logging in saying, I don't know how this works. Like we tried to set it up. The moment you log in, very, very simple steps to configure and get started right away. That kind of clarity drives real results for your business.
Yeah, the simplicity is genius. We talk about it all the time. That's so well said. And if something's hard to use and too complicated, people will just opt for a different system. So you solve that problem right away. Next question, how does Jupiter benefit both the broker business and the client while promoting the automation to help the partners scale?
Yeah, so this one is, I'll dive into a feature that we mentioned on the video. We call it Smart Documents. It's one of the best features I think Jupiter offers, and it fits really nicely into this conversation around automation. So, back when we were learning from these brokers and building this product, what we noticed in that drop off was that a client, we just look at different moments in the process and say, where's the drop off happening? How can we provide momentum in that moment? A client would submit an application, and then what happens? It goes into a broker's to-do list to review that application and then request follow-up documentation. That could take a few hours. You could be on vacation. It could take days. And then the client gets that list, and now it takes them days. They could be on vacation. I mean, you're really extending the amount of time, and it's completely unnecessary. In a lot of cases, the client actually has a lot of those documents handy when they're filling out the application. So Smart Documents actually analyzes the application and it automatically requests all of the documents that you need to review. And it's all set up for you when you get in. Yes, you can customize the rules if you want to. You could say, hey, I want this document uploaded for every single application, no matter what. You can do that. You can update the logic, but it's pre-done for you. So again, this is to that point. It's so simple and easy to get in and do it. But all of this leads to the borrower going one more step down the funnel. And we know that that's going to get them more committed when they're uploading those documents, and it's going to save you time.
Speed to lead, we talked about it just a little bit ago with Danny, right? And how can we remove those friction points and those barriers to entry for those clients? And ultimately, that's what's going to create stickiness and hoping that if their experience is seamless, they're going to come back to you. So absolutely. And one last question here, and this might have multiple layers here because I know that since the launch of Finmo and now Jupiter, there's been a lot of testing and making sure that this is truly an elite product. So as you are discussing Jupiter with different mortgage professionals, what are common questions that are coming up?
Yeah, I'll tell you a really good story about how our product team operates. We truly believe that a community of brokers around this product is what is going to allow us to win. It's all about our communication, our feedback with all of you watching this today. So during our beta, I'll give you an example. We had those beta users come in and they said, "Oh, I really like this. I really like this, but the biggest headache in my business is compliance, reporting and compliance." And then they would show us what they do. And we were just looking like this is a massive opportunity for us to help them. And we listened. And so we actually built what I believe is the best mortgage call reporting in the industry. And we made it dead simple. It's a few clicks to actually generate this report. And it's in a format that you can go ahead and upload to stay compliant. And that's one example of how we listen and we produce something that saves you time, makes you more efficient, and keeps momentum through the entire life cycle. Another great example was, we've been for so long. I think that there's kind of the political side of oh, is my loan captive? Like if I'm going to use this tool, can I only use a Rocket? And we understood that in order to ask you to use an LOS POS, we actually need to allow you to take it somewhere else. And the goal, of course, from our side is we want to earn the business, right? We want to create a product that actually makes sense for you to use all the way through. And you can take that 3.4 and download it. But obviously, if it is submitted with Rocket, there are features like you get responses back into Jupyter, and we want to make that simple and easy. We want to earn the business. So that was another question we get asked a lot. And then last but not least, when they see all of this, they go, what's the cost? What's this going to cost me? And everything that we launched last week at Ignite, all of the features that exist today, that is free. So this is a tool for you to jump into. It's an absolute massive opportunity, and we want to help you grow your business.
That is huge. I mean, I was speaking with a lot of partners last week after the Ignite, and they were talking about Jupyter, and they saw the reel, and they were like, "Is the mortgage call report thing? Is that compliance piece true?" And it was almost too good to be true. And it's like, "Oh yeah," and in large part from feedback that they received from all of you. So, absolute dynamite product. Please scan the QR code. Have a conversation with their onboarding, with their sales team, and they'll make sure to answer all of your questions. It's absolutely incredible. Carter, thank you. We're going to go through a quick review. So we had the outcomes at the beginning. These were the things that we really wanted to accomplish. We wanted to make sure, are we breaking down in follow-up or in follow-ups when they occur, right? Automations for marketing or with AI responses to texts and calls leads to building more relationships. And then Jupyter allows you to see every pipeline stage, just that visibility. We just talked about it. Document update and lender status all in one dashboard. Simplified, all in one place. But we are going to go through now a couple of action items for all of you, just as a place to get started. So first and foremost, I'm going to kick it off. Why don't we just start off with determining the manual processes and prioritize what could be automated.
Next, implement automation at moments that move loans forward. The right CRM in place, speed to lead, milestone updates, and long-term nurture, you can really use AI and automation to convert more. What I always like to say is build consistency before complexity.
And last but not least, look into these features that are going to supercharge your business. We're talking Jupyter's smart document feature and the ability to collect this application with just a single link going out to your client. It does the hard work for you.
Awesome. Now, thank you for joining us today. We do have another session every Thursday. So next week, join us on March 12th. We're going to talk about hiring for Hustle, when, who, and how to grow your brokerage. You know, growth breaks brokerages long before the market does. Usually because of the wrong hires they're made too early, they're made too late, or just for the wrong reasons entirely. So join this session. You're going to hear all about the secrets of how to hire for Hustle, how to hire the right people for the role that you have open. So thank you all for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. For myself, for Danny, for Carter, have a great rest of your day.